An average politician has traveled out of Nigeria. And I'm speaking not even the governors and senators, I'm talking even local government chairmen. They've at least left Nigeria, traveled abroad. Why would they travel to countries that are developed and civilized? They see how people live there, they see how things work, and return to Nigeria, and they can't at least copy what they've seen.
First of all, it's because of the environment, the Nigerian environment. The Nigerian environment comprises of the values of the people, it comprises of the lifestyle of the people, comprises of the belief system of the people, it comprises of the prevalent information that circulates among the people. And it also relates to the principles by which people take their decisions. So all these things are what we call environment. And what that does is that it forms in people paradigms or worldviews. And so when you are in a place where the worldview is formulated and you are not above that worldview and you are not reshaping that worldview, we know that anything you tolerate dominates you. So when people come to Nigeria, even though they studied abroad or they traveled abroad, and they come into a dominating or prevailing worldview environment, they just succumb and mix up together with that worldview and just begin to reflect the reality of that environment. So that is one explanation. The second explanation is the fact that you go abroad doesn't mean that you are going to be able to duplicate what you see abroad. A lot of Nigerians that came into overseas in the 60s, 70s, the people who are running Nigeria right now are people who mostly studied in Nigeria. But even the ones who studied abroad, out of them all, most of them just studied and went back to Nigeria immediately. And the disadvantage with that is that when you come to Europe and study for 5 years, or 4 years, or 3 years, and you are just going to classrooms, and then you finish your classes, and then you leave the country, you have not learned anything. You have learned book or knowledge. You have got a diploma and a certificate, but you have not learned anything. So those are some of the people who say they have traveled and they have traveled abroad, but they are not capable of duplicating. Before you could duplicate or replicate the kind of advancement and development and technology that you see in the West, that you need to go more than just traveling abroad. Then there is another group of people who are now coming back after having lived abroad for a prolonged period of time. Maybe they have lived abroad for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. But if you live abroad for 10, 20, 15 years, and you've only interacted mainly among the Yorubas and the Igbos and Nigerians, or Benin people, and you just interacted mainly among your people, you have not learned anything. Even though you've learned some things, but it's not strong enough. You've only come to see a country that is functioning. You've only come to see a society where everything works, but you don't know why. You only know, you can describe it, you can say it works here, it is what happened, they do, but you cannot duplicate it. That's the second category of people. The people who have traveled abroad, but they have lived and interacted and mixed up mainly with their own people. The third category of people who are going to Nigeria after having traveled abroad are also people who have lived abroad for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But when they were overseas or in Europe, they have only gone to work. Maybe they studied there and they have worked there. And by the time they go back to Nigeria, they have some experience, but they don't have a holistic picture. Just like you talk about our nurses, for example. If you look at a nurse that has gone to work as a nurse in America or in Europe, goes back to Nigeria, that doesn't mean that the person will be capable of building a system of a medical service that is going to be advanced as the one that she had worked in, because she didn't build the system. So what I'm trying to say is that even those people who have worked and interacted a little bit with the indigenes, they have not been taught or learned how to build systems. So before you could be able to travel abroad and be able to bring in or copy innovations and bring in creativity and be able to duplicate what you have seen, you need to go beyond just going to study abroad. You need to go beyond just going to stay and relate with your own people. You need to even go beyond just going there and working and making a living and making some money, sending some money back. You need to go there and become a leader in overseas. You need to become a leader and a chief executive in some areas. One area or the other. You must become a chief executive. A chief executive where people work on you, where you have grown from primary function and job to the chief executive position, where you have seen everything the way the system is built, and where you as a leader have now overseen and you are overseeing building of systems, and you have built systems in those countries by yourself first. Only those kind of people could go back to Africa, to Nigeria, and duplicate.
Wow.
Sunday Adelaja here. If you believe in nation building principles, please like this video, share it with your friends, and let's change our nations together.